Okay, guys, welcome to day one of TAPFX. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of, I guess you could say, rewinding on this. I know a lot of people recently came back because I just now actually started emailing people to let them know about updates. I still am missing a shit ton of people from the email list, but it's PayPal is just a pain in the ass to pull things out of. So I'm working on getting that list completely up to date so that I can get everybody from the group. What happened is Skype screwed up. I got locked out of my room. Over the last year, I've gotten locked out of my own damn room 3 times. So we switched to Slack. I'm trying to get everybody back. We got a nice chunk of people back yesterday. So what we're going to be doing today is going over TAPFX. We're going to be version 3. I'm going to start off on the 1-minute chart and move into each part of the system, and then we're going to talk about entry. I realized when I sent it out, a lot of people had never used it, and from 1 to 3, there's been some changes, and also that, well, a lot of people just have no clue about FOREX. Today we're going to be focusing entry system-wise, what's on the screen, and then entry only. One of the few things I do want to cover is I have been sending everyone invites to the file depository. It's through what's called Mega. It looks something a little bit like this. Now, when you log in, I had a couple questions. Basically what happens is when you email me saying I want to join the group, I go to contacts and add you. You will get an email back, so you have to click that email to get access to the files. So why did I do it this way? Because to be quite honest, it got annoying everyone asking me, are there any updates? So now all you have to do is go to this right here. It'll say shared with me, and you look in and you'll see it. So what we're going to be going over today is TAPFX. And I'm going to be putting samples in here from stage 1. Stage 1 is entry only. This is the actual final setup. I will put a zip file on here that says TAPFX S1 in a little bit, and that will be your stage 1 training. Stage 1, we're focusing on entry only and not re-entry. Okay, if your trading access is right here, and actually all the videos are here now too, so I don't have to deal with where are the videos, blah blah blah. They're all there for you now too. You can actually download these videos to your hard drive. That was by request a long time ago, and I finally got around to doing it. Anything that's in here you can download to your hard drive. It's all available for you, so no excuses now that my internet's slow, I can't watch videos. I heard it all. The only thing that I will miss is these aren't password protected, so I know a lot of people, they'd get the system and they'd never ask me the password. And then they start asking all these off-the-wall questions or saying that they're not making any money. I'd be like, well, you never watch the videos. But Mega's here. If you ever think there's updates, just go check there. Last thing, it does have a chat option here. I'm not going to be paying attention to chat here. I expect you can try me on Skype, but I prefer everything to go through Slack. We're going to look at Slack real quick here in a second. And then we'll get into TAPFX. So Slack. It can be installed on your phone, it can be installed on your desktop, it can run through a website. If you need to talk to me, we have 2 different rooms, general and random. Some of you are in this room, but let's not worry about that for now. You just click my name if you want to talk to me. Like if I wanted to talk to Robin, I would say, hello, test. And that's how you talk to me directly. So it says direct messages right here. It's not too bad. Okay, so that pretty much covers what you need to know about Slack. You can talk in general, randoms for bullshitting. So if you want to come in here, this is the room to bullshit in. Here, I'll put it in there. So if you're in Slack, you probably saw it. And I'll type it. This is the room for trade. So if you're watching the video, you can see it in Slack. There you go. Okay. The other thing about Slack is it uses way less memory than Skype. About 20 megabytes is all it uses, where Skype was 100 to 300 depending on what you're doing. If you're using the web Skype version, this one right here, remove any of the access that lets you do phone calls because it adds in an extra 300 to 500 megabytes of RAM. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend, if you're using Skype web, if you need to make a phone call, boot up the desktop version. And just use Skype Web for casual communications. Alright, so that's enough preaching about that. Let's get into TAPFX. Give me a sec. Let me get this shit line back up. Okay, so 1 minute chart. In order to do anything, you have two different charts for everything. You have GBP, USD. So chart 1 is always going to be 1 minute. Chart 2 is going to be your Renko chart. Chart 1 is where you build your Renko chart from. I'll explain Renko charts when we get to the Renko chart. On this chart, the only thing you will have is inlines and this blue box. These are hourly candles. The 1 minute charts, you can put whatever the hell you want on them as long as it doesn't slow down your MT4. I mean, literally whatever you want. If you need EMAs on there, the 1 minute chart, in my opinion, is more of just a how would you say? It's a decision maker. It helps you make a little bit of decisions if you're confused about things. You need a little bit. Like I can see now, 1 hour is on a nice trend up. We're 21 minutes in. We have 9 minutes to the bell. But if we zoom out a little bit, we could see that it was up and then kind of flattish down. US CAD yesterday was dead flat. I use the 1 hour candles just to help me determine trend. Inlines, I use it to help me. It's like the legend on a map. You know how like it shows like 1 mile and it shows a little square, and then it shows 5 miles. Basically, it helps you to determine the candle size. This is a 20 pip channel. From the top to bottom is 20 pips. From price up is 10. From price down is 10. So what I can do, just glimpsing at this, I can see it took 1, 2, like 4 candles to move 10 pips. Over on the other chart, that's also going to be reinforced. But it is just a legend to kind of let you see how things go. A lot of this is visual. A lot of trading, if you can get things down visually, it will help you. Now the second box, this is the box that builds the Renko. We're going to talk about it briefly, but it's in the template for you. I just want you to understand what it is. I think it's stupid if you don't know what's on your chart. It'll come to making mistakes, making assumptions, and making bad trades. Alright, so this one. To get into this one, I'm just going to hit F7. We're using Renko box size in points, not pips. I'm using 30. You can drop it down to 1, but it's going to move extremely fast and you might miss some trades. I'm also using median Renko, which is true. Again, your template's going to have this, so you don't have to do anything. Everything else stays the way it is except for this. Renko time frame is 33 for me. On my standard with no median Renko, I drop it to 30, and this one is 33. Actually, 31, because 30 is the M30 time frame. So it's 31, but ignore all that, guys. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little off subject. Just load up the template, and I'll explain what the median Renko means here in a second. Alright, so that's it. If this blue box does not appear, it means you're not on the M1 time frame. You need to be on M1 for this box to apply. If it's not there, go to M1, just reload the template, this box will apply. When that happens, what will happen is, I'll do it with Euro USD. So let me close Euro USD. What happens, it'll show this before you open your Renko. It tells you what to do. Go to menu. So here's your menu. Do File, Open Offline, Euro USD, M33. You open it up, and then open up your template. Simple as that. Okay, so let's get to what's on your chart now. Once you've opened up your template, this is what it's going to look like. This is Stage 1 TAPFX. It's not the final, but I want you to run through Stage 1. Stage 1, you get it down, you can actually make some money. I'm not going to beat around the bush there. You just need to pay attention to what the hell you're doing and make sure you're not on a flat market. Again, flat market, unlike trading axis, is the enemy. We want a medium to heavy trend. A light trend could possibly be doable, but then we're not going to be looking at full trade sizes. So medium to heavy trend. No flat, no braiding. I'll explain what braiding is later. Let's go through what's on the screen. Top left, we'll start off. We see 10 SL, 2% risk, and 0.38. So what is that? If we go into indicators, it's lot size calc _1. You tell it what your stop loss is, which I'm using 10, and your risk percentage, which is 2%. On your chart, it'll tell you what your lot size should be, 0.38 by your balance. It's pretty simple. It's telling you what trade size to use for your risk. Second one down, Renko time. Okay, so Renko time, and this is an important one, and I'm going to go to Euro USD for this one because it's a very good example. So this is Euro USD. Let me indicators list. Let me fix something real quick. Nope. Wrong shit. Yeah, I'm fucking... Ignore what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to get the least amount of distractions on the chart that I can have while I teach this, so... Close, template, save template. Okay, so Renko time. What that tells you, Renko bars, if you didn't know, are not based off of time. They're based off of pips. So a Renko bar does not this bar does not form until price is moved 3 pips down. Another bar 3 pips down. Now, when I said median Renko, what happens is a median Renko bar moves back up to here, and then it does a 3 pip down. So it always goes back up to the 50% mark. It gives you a little bit of a smoother picture. Okay, so Renko time. How do we use it, and what's the purpose of it? Well, if you're trading, how many of you want to sit down for 3 hours and stare at a chart that moves four candlesticks or 12 pips? I don't think you really want to. So Renko time can help you to quickly look down here and see if the charts are dragging along. If we look to the right down here, and I'll zoom in so we can see it, it has numbers 1, 5, 15, and up at the top is 30. If it hits 30, then it creates a new candle. So what does this tell us? Well, we can see here that the market's all under all these candles from here. Let's draw a box. And for the most part, every candle in this box, this whole movement, was all taking less than 1 minute to move 3 pips. This was a news release we can see right here. But every one of these candles took almost less than 1 minute to form. This one took a little bit over 1, a little bit over 1. This one took almost 5 minutes. Took like 1.5, 2 minutes. This one took 11 minutes. This one took 12 minutes. But we can see everything in this box was moving. So we know at this point that, yeah, this would be a good time to trade. So let's look at the opposite side of it. What was a bad time to trade? Let me turn off the auto scroll. Let's look at this. We have 30-minute candles. So just to move 3 pips. And if we look, just to move 3 pips, this took 30 minutes plus. This candle, 30 minutes plus. And then we drop down to 15. So just in this time frame here, we've already had 1 hour and 15 minutes in 3 candles. Do you really want to be trading during that and sitting on your ass doing nothing? I don't think so. So that's what Renko time's for. So if you see a chart that looks like this, either find something else or don't trade it, because you're going to be sitting on your ass forever to get any type of movement. That's how Renko time can help you. It lets you see, is the pair actually moving? If it's not moving, stay the hell away from it. So right now we know Euro's good because everything's dropped down. Yeah, it spiked up a little bit, but Euro for the most part is good. We have the US Open right now, so I'm not doing anything. Plus we're educational-wise on a roll. Next below that, so let's take a look at how your chart looks. Okay, I am working on alert for the cycle, but right now it's not working properly. I have volume turned off on my alerts because it's just banging out like crazy. If I find a coder that can do Renko, which I'm on my 2nd coder this week, and he doesn't look like he can do it either. Basically, I don't know what it is, but some of the coders just don't do it. What happens with Renko is, since there's many candles involved in this one, they have to tell it to look at Renko only. So let's say this thing has 21-minute candles in it, the alert will pop 20 times, and that's what's happening. So down here we have this green line. The template's going to show you how to do it, but I got rid of the fast-moving cycle. I put the fast-moving cycle and the slow-moving cycle both to the same number, so it gives us one line. That's all you have to know. Here's the 0 line, and let me make it so it's a little bit more viewable. Levels, 0, we'll go with aqua, and we'll do a solid line. Let me do a dash dot one. I'm going to have to change all the levels, I think. Or did I not save it? I didn't save it. My bad. Okay, this is just for video purposes so you can see it. This is the 0 level. The slow cycle above it is buy. As long as the green line's above it's buy. The slow cycle below it is a sell. Now, we don't have an alert, but a touch could mean a re-entry. It really depends on what the charts up here look like. We're going to be focusing on entry only today. So, looking at this chart, and just by green alone, we have entry there, entry there, and this isn't going into the rules yet. We have a possible, no, we're not talking about re-entry, I'm sorry, and an entry there. If it's above, it would be a buy. If it's below, it would be a sell. And if it's above, it would be a buy. Now, this is basics, guys. This is not the full system. We're going to be talking simplified entry today to help you out. Okay, so don't get all crazy thinking, well, fuck me, this is easy. Because if we look, I mean, if you bought here, price did go up. And if you sold here, price kind of dropped, but we would have probably got stopped out. And this was supposed to be a buy. So I don't know my colors, I guess. Okay, so this was supposed to be a buy, and if we look, this buy actually worked out pretty well. So we'd have 2 out of 3 trades just worked out for us. Okay, so let us take a look at actually then the next part. Over here we have, it says average candles. If it's 1 or below, that's a no-go. 1 to 2 is a medium, and above 2 is great. This will also sometimes be backed up by your Renko time. If Renko time and candle size are both working together, you're in and out of these trades pretty quick. I mean, you're not going to have to sit on your ass for 2-3 hours. If Renko time and candle size is correct, you combine the two, you could have a 2-hour session, be in and out for the day. It literally helps you from wasting your time sitting on your ass, staring at the charts, being like, Jesus Christ, I got into a trade and it's been 2 hours and it's moved 12 pips. Or 6 pips, or 4 pips, whatever the case may be. So combining Renko time, which shows us how fast the candles are appearing on the chart, with the candle size, also ups our ability to be in and out of trades quickly, and it also gives us a good hint when it's time to trade. Entry-wise, your first step is going to be to watch for the slow cycle to go above 0 is a buy, below 0 is a sell. We'll get into re-entry later this week. We're doing just entry for now. So let's see what would be next. What do we have up here on the chart? This little white line, this is a 100 period moving average. This one is a 10 or a 12, and why is this little bitch turning red or a green? Because there's an invisible 50 on there. These are all things to help you judge to get into the trade. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. We're using Renko bars, so a down candle's red and up candle's green. We also have this up here. What is this? It tells us the spread. Here's the price, and this is what sessions are open. So right now we can see it's Helsinki, Frankfurt, London, and New York. And here's the times. It's 4:34 p.m., 3:34, 2:34, and 9:34 a.m. in New York. Really, the only thing you really need to worry about, you have price and spread. There's some other things on here like the range, but we're not going to be talking about those today. We're keeping this shit simple so you can learn it. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Do we have any questions so far? Is there something I need to go over before we continue on? Okay, so the enemy of the system is a flat market. Like right now, what would we consider this? Here's a 10 pip range, and it hasn't done anything. So we're flat on euro. Let's look at, oops, let me get these lined up so I can flip through them properly. And let me load up the other template with the shitty alerts so that you'll be able to see a little bit more clearly on red and green and how it works. So here's red and green in the 0 line. Since you might not be able to see the 0 line, this does go red. Alright. So let's see, are we in order on charts? We'll go through the charts real quick. Okay, so GBP, looking at it, using our inlines, we can see prices moving up and down, so this might be a good one to watch. If we look over here, it's green, and again, we could have had an entry. Let me turn back on the normal candles, and we'll talk about the entry on this one. I will try and catch some real trades, but we're going to start talking about entry. So initial entry on this one, we're going to go back to when it first turned green, and we'll talk about this here in a bit. But I want to try and get this live because this is Rinko, so I don't know when I could see this on the 1 minute chart. But let's talk about entry. So here's when price turned green. Let me throw one other thing on here. H, horizontal, where are you? I'll put this in the, just so you can have it, I'm going to put this in there. Oh, it's vertical, duh, I'm freaking an idiot. Woo-wee. Okay, vertical line. This shows, because every now and then on Rinko, if you're zoomed out, you can't see if the next candle has formed. I'll include this with the TAPFX stage 1. But let's go back and look. So we got our crossover to a buy, and again, entry only. This candle. Let's bring up Snagit so we can draw on this crap. And I did this yesterday. If you want to see some trades live yesterday, look at yesterday's video. But then I realized I hadn't explained the system well enough for anyone to understand. So that kind of turned into a shit show. Alright, so let's go to Snagit. I'm going to draw what we're looking for. This is already an example of this in the Mega Depository. I keep wanting to say repository, or that just doesn't sound right. It's horrible. Suppository. That'd even be better. Okay, so what we're looking for, first thing we need for a trade, and let's turn these green since we're doing a buy. It'll look all pretty. Slow cycle crosses up. We are now looking to the top chart to qualify this buy. Remember how we used to use value charts to get us to look at the pair? Kind of similar. This is the slow cycle moving up. When I say slow cycle, it means that the price is moving up. Inside the slow cycle, we have fast cycles where it's going to move down. But for the most part, we are in an up cycle now, which means price should be moving up. Is this always going to be right? No, look back down here. It didn't really move down too much. Did a little bit, but we'll get into that later. What is the second thing we want? The second thing we want, and I don't give a shit if it's red or blue. If you want to be super safe, you could wait till it's blue. But for the most part, it's above our 12. Step 2. We're always going to look to this one first. Why? Because it's the faster moving of this. So step 2, is it above here? Step 3, is it above the white line, which is our 100, which is another slower moving. Now, you should be able to jump to the chart and watch this and say, yep, everything's lined up. So what's your next freaking question on this? Is it in a trend, or is it what we call braiding? Is it just moving up and down? Is it in a range? Is it dicking around where it's not going to pull you very many pips? If it is, we don't want to take the trade. If it's not in a range or going against trend, then we want to reduce trade size. We'll get into that later this week. Yesterday, go look at the video. I did show you how to adjust trade size. We got into one that was a very good, one that was a bad trade, but we took it at a small trade size. Then we got in a good one, and we went we jumped up to a higher trade size. We lost 10 pips, made 10 pips, but overall we made money. Literally 6 times more money on the down one that was with the trend. So you can take the uptrend, take it small, just in case it runs. Then you'll get a little bit of money. If it hurts you, then go with the downtrend. If both fail, then you're in a fucking range. Stop trading. You'll see what I mean by that in a bit. So that's what our basic setup looks like. Do we almost have a setup coming here? Yes, we do. Look, it's about to cross below the 0. Let's go take a look at it. We missed it. Okay, so let's zoom out a bit. Overall, we just have the 100 tells us it's kind of flat. We have, let me zoom in. Price closed below the 100. If we look to our left, what do we have? A support. So we're looking more at a live trade right now than anything. We had a support here. If we look over here to the left, there's another one. Okay, so it dipped red. Candle-wise, let's look at Renko time. How's it doing? It's a little bit above 1 minute, but we can't see the 5-minute yet, so the candles are moving. Now, entry-wise, it turned red back here. So let's take a look. I'm going to mark it exactly, but it's the next candle when you'd see it. It would beep on... Sorry. Meh. God damn it. Realistically, this is when, if I can get the alerts running, where we're going to get an alert. But realistically, this is where you're going to see red also. So could we get in here? It's below the 100. It is below the green, or below the 12. Is only thing that we see to the left, if we look, is it had a little bit of support. It closed below that support. So if we look here, it did close below support. Our next goal would be down here, so that gives us a couple pips to run. Now, since we already can see the candles are turning green, meh. Now, the only thing I could say here is a warning not to get in, and this makes it a little bit higher risk, is, and let's go to a line chart, the faster moving has not closed below the slower moving. So this would make it a riskier trade. So we could drop down to whatever your minimum trade size is, and you could jump in, see if it runs. If it doesn't, we'd wait for another setup. This thing just turned green, so let's take a look what we have now. So it just turned green, so now it's above the 100. It's above the faster moving. So this is a better looking trade. And let me zoom out one, and we'll take a screenshot, and we'll take a look at what was a better looking trade compared to a shitty trade. Now, trade size on this one should have gone up, but just so we can watch what it does. Now, real quick, before I get to the drawing, what do we have here to worry about? Price needs to push through there. So if price pushes through there, where are we good to? Our next little blurb would be here, and our next little blurb would be here. When I say blurb, I'm talking support and resist, so that's my technical term right now, I guess today is a blurb. So deal with it. Alright, so let's talk about the trade. I'm sorry, guys. We had a red arrow, and let's go with red. Okay. Turned red right here. So stage 1 was a go. Yay! Stage 2. Price was below our faster moving. So stage 2. Stage 3 closed below the white line, which is our slower moving average. So at that point we could say, hey, I'm in this bitch for a buy. Now there's a couple things I want to show you here. This long path down leads to exhaustion. If you're climbing down all these stairs, by the time you get to the bottom, you're going to be freaking tired. That's my one warning. Number 2 is price did not, the faster moving did not close below here. It never came below this line. So that was a warning that this was a weak trade. So if we go back and look, we got on this one at the beginning of the stairs. I got plenty of energy to move up. It was above everything. That was a stronger trade. We're not going to be dealing with exhaustion. What's it going to hit? Hitting about here. So does everyone... Well, we only have a few people in chat, but... Does everyone get... Here, let me close this so I don't got to dick around with it. Does everyone get why this one, if we think of these as stairs... Getting in this trade here was good because we're a little bit up the stairs, but I got plenty of energy to go. If we get in here, I'm coming down the stairs. Going up, let's just assume going upstairs and going downstairs takes the same amount of energy. By the time we got our signal, I was at the bottom of this long-ass stair step, and my ass was worn the fuck out. I was tired. But I got to rest down here. Now, stairs, I got more energy to move up these stairs. I'm trying not to use complicated words on this, guys. I'm trying to keep it simple. So because I had more energy to move back up and everything lined up, we were above the fast, above the fast, above the slow, and we got our re-entry line. Let me draw it right. And I was late on this one, so we actually could have pulled out more pips and it's still moving up. Okay, so do we understand why it's important to take into account exhaustion and a good entry compared to a weak entry? Yes, we could have taken a weak entry here. What do we do, though? As soon as this red turns green, I would consider getting the fuck out. Just jump out of that trade and open up a buy. Because this was an entry, failed entry, back into an initial entry. Again, I'm not talking about getting back into the trade. We are only talking about initial entry today. So no questions on anything but initial entry. Let me check my email real quick. I thought I saw Grandma's name pop up. Sometimes the school calls her instead of me. Alright. So, I mean, hopefully that explains it pretty simple. What do we see here that I was aware of already? It had to bust through here. If you see it weakening, jump the hell out, guys. You could wait to see if it's a pullback and jump up, but it's up to you how you handle these trades. This is where the practice comes in. Initial entry is going to land you some pips. We are going to most likely get some pips. And if not, make sure that your exit out here is small enough. But we can see it might possibly hit here, then bounce up. We have a resist here, but a run to here. So that's initial entry on this one. We took an actual live trade with initial entry. We marked this one and talked about it. Let's take a look. Euro USD. So if I jump to this trade from the 1 minute chart, what am I going to be thinking right now if I'm looking at Euro USD? Do I want to trade this? You should be looking at this chart and saying, fucks no. I'm not going to trade Euro USD. It is flat. I'm not going to trade it. Remember, the enemy is a flat market. It will cause you to get in, get out, get in, get out, and lose on every damn trade. The enemy is a flat market. Stay away when you see this. In lines helps you see it. We could guesstimate here. We got about a 10 pip range, I bet. Look at that, 10 pip range. How do I know that? Because it's a 20 pip range and this is taking up about half the space. So I could quickly look at this and say 10 pip range. Now let's go to the secondary lineup. Remember I said if these are showing below 2 pips, that's a medium trade zone. No, we don't want it. So candles are forming at less than 2 pips. What are we also seeing here? It's taking about 5 minutes per candle to form. So what do we have? A slower freaking market. A flat, slow market with small candles. So what do we know to do on this? We don't trade it. It's as simple as that. Don't be stupid. Don't trade it. Next chart, UJ. So what does UJ look like? We have about, what, a 10 pip range up, 10 pip range down, 10 pip range up. This one might be worth looking at over, since at least we had a little bit of movement here. So let's take a look at what it looks like on Renko. So what's the first thing we want to check? How long is it taking for candles to form? Well, from here, this was a 15-minute candle. From here on, we're at 1 to 5 minute candles, mostly 1 minute candles. So it might be worth watching. We're in an upwards trend. We're already past initial entry. Initial entry was way the hell back here. We'll come back and look at initial entry in a minute. But let's chill on that one for a second. Candle size, slightly above 2, so we're looking good. So by Renko time and candle size, yes, this might be tradable. Oh, sorry, yawning. Let me get a little more coffee in me. Just lovely. So UJ is a possibility to trade it. Does it look the best in the world? Fuck no, but it's better than Euro. Euro's a total piece of trash right now. Let's look at US CAD. US CAD looks wonderful. Mainly because we don't see price riding really in the middle of this damn 20 pip range. Okay, so US CAD looks wonderful. Let's take a look at it over here. Now, why don't I like US CAD? Because I get a shit spread on it. Let's go to here. Alright, so let's take a look. What are we looking at first? Look at Renko time. Are the candles moving nicely? This was a news release right here. I pulled 10 pips on it. Yippee-ki-yay. So things did slow down a little bit. The worst case candle we've got so far is what? This is a 11-minute candle. But for the most part, we're at 1 minute. A little bit of 5-minute candles. So this pair is actually freaking moving. Candle size, what are we looking at? We're looking at about 3 pip average candles. So out of the two charts we have, GBP and US CAD look the best. Euro looks like dog shit, and UJ is borderline. So let's take a look at this one. So let's look first. This was news. Stay the hell out of that news. It's actually from here on. This was when I first opened up the chart and hit F9 by accident. So this was news. Let's look at our first initial entry setup. So after news, yay, we made 10 pips. Now let's move along back to the normal world where we have to suck ass and trade. Here's our first candle. I'm going to zoom in, take a screenshot, and then we'll take a talk about it. La la la. Alright. Slow cycles turned green. So what are we looking for? Step 1, and this is a buy, so I guess we use green candles again. Step 1, we already confirmed. The candle size is fine, Renko time is fine, we're moving along nicely, the pair's moving, we're not going to be stuck in a trade trying to get 10 pips over a 2-hour period. We get our cross, number 1. Next step, let's move to the fast moving line. That's your lovely little colored one. Is price above it? Yes, it is, but it is not above the slow moving. So 2. So yes, it's a trade, but it might be a weaker trade. So what are we going to do then? The first thing we want to do is adjust our trade size a little bit. Drop it down a little bit. We don't have a perfect setup yet. How are we looking on step 3? It's above the slower moving. And step 3. Okay, so far, what have we noticed? And let's bold. Okay, so the setup is, I would say, it's out of the 3. So we've got a 1, 2. We got a 66% setup. And this isn't saying how it's going to go. It's just because I don't have a perfect setup, I'm going to adjust price. If I had 100% setup, the fast moving would be above. Since we're only looking at 3 items right now, we're going to call it a 66% setup. We have 33 plus 33, 66. If price was above here, like here, then it would have been 100% setup. We could use our normal lot size. Now this is running, but what if it dropped down on us, like here? Okay, so how are we looking next is, so we drop lot a bit. Next thing, what do we want to look at? Exhaustion. It's just started running up. Now this is all going to be onto you. Here's where it crossed. Exhaustion-wise, I would say is okay. It's not great, but it's okay. You'll learn to judge exhaustion a little bit later as you trade. Don't worry about it. I mean, it's not important. It's just something you need to keep in mind. So that's basically what we're looking at. So we would drop lot size a little bit and jump in this trade. Now, again, we're not getting into re-entry, so don't worry about that. But we'd drop trade size, jump in. Everyone get that, what we looked for? 3-step qualification for it, and we're in. We did drop a little bit because we wanted to get in early, so this hadn't crossed. We could wait for it to cross, and then we wouldn't drop lot size, but then exhaustion would be a little bit worse. So it's a give and take. Rarely are we going to ever have a perfect setup. I mean, this GBP setup was actually a very nice one. Was it GBP? This was a very nice one because everything coincided. No exhaustion, everything lined up, and we were up. Again, this red part of it I'm not too concerned with because it's just telling me that the 50 EMA is right cutting through there. So back to this. Do we understand basically how to qualify it? Look at it real quickly. What was the good things about it? And I forgot to put these in, so let's put them in. Renko time / average candle, good. That's basically the combination of everything you're going to be using to take a look to see if you're going to be getting in a good trade. And again, this is initial entry only. We'll talk more about, not tomorrow, but Thursday, we'll talk about re-entry. This way y'all get a chance to play with it. But this way, hopefully what I covered today will give you a basic understanding of what you're looking for to get into a trade. I keep seeing people jump in and out of chat, but are there any questions? I'll be posting the video here in a bit and post it to the room. But if there's any questions, guys, please hit me up. Hopefully, if you need further clarification, let me know. Tomorrow, I'm going to cover a little bit on how to get out of initial entry trades. For now, I just wanted you in initial entry trades. And let's say your general rule of thumb is if this turns red and goes back to green, get the hell out. That'll be your rule of thumb for now. Please demo and try it out. I'm sure you'll find that it's actually pretty easy to use. Tomorrow, we'll briefly cover the second part of initial entry, which is getting the hell out on a trade. But today, just initial entry. We want to do this step by step and baby steps to get everyone back in. Alright guys, so that sums it up, and gals, because I know, like, Vicky, you're there. And I don't want to forget about you. Alright, so that sums it up. If you have questions, guys, Slack, email, or if you absolutely have to, hit me up on Skype, but I'm going to ask you why you're not in the Slack room. So please, I'll post the video here in a bit. Let me know if there's any other questions. And if I need to clarify or just show things anymore. Alright guys, thanks a lot. Next, about 10-15 minutes, I'll be covering spread. So if you want to watch that one, feel free to join in too.